President Donald Sellout Trump was flirting with doing something that's actually very positive the other day. But then there was a new development in the story that I'm going to give you at the end here. So the White House was weighing an executive order to withdraw from NAFTA. Ooh. They say the Trump administration is weighing an executive order on withdrawing from the North American Free Trade Agreement. According to a source familiar with the plans, the measure is in draft form and has been submitted to the White House staff secretary for the final stages of review, the source said. The order could be unveiled later this week or made early next week, and changes could be made during the review process. If the administration follows through with the order, it could signal its intent to pull out of the major trade pact with Canada and Mexico. President Trump, get this, guys, does not need an executive order to withdraw from the trade agreement. Under NAFTA, any parties are allowed to leave 6 months after providing written notice to the other countries. But an order declaring that intent could be used as leverage by the Trump administration against Canada and Mexico to broker better trade terms, short of leaving the deal entirely. The development comes after Trump took aggressive action against Canada on trade this week by slapping a new tariff on softwood lumber imports and threatening to retaliate against Canadian taxes on U.S. dairy exports. Okay, so first things first, do I agree with that tariff on Canadian softwood lumber imports? Yes, I do. I'm generally in favor of tariffs. Why? Because the whole idea behind tariffs, it's very simple. It makes it so that you incentivize buying American goods over foreign goods. And that has to do with, I want more jobs in America. I want my fellow Americans to be prosperous and make their way into the middle class. So I want you to get jobs. I, prioritize your jobs over jobs in Bangladesh. No offense to people in Bangladesh, no offense to people everywhere else in the world, but this is our country and we're falling apart at the seams and we should take care of our own business before we go and do anything else with somebody else. So I like tariffs. Generally speaking, you got to do them intelligently. They got to be on the right issues. But yes, if you tax foreign goods that come into the country, you do a tariff on them to make them more expensive than comparable American goods, then the American good is less expensive and you incentivize more people to go buy the American good, which means you hire more Americans, which means it's overall good for America. So this is an issue. It's called protectionism. This is something that back in the day, everybody was for it. Now we're at a place where free trade, as it's called, which is really outsourcing, is the norm, and that's only because corporations have bought our government. If corporations didn't buy our government, so many more people would be protectionist. In fact, the American people are still pretty strongly protectionist, but the oligarchy has disagreed, so they've mostly gotten rid of the tariffs and opened up trade borders, and so many Americans have lost jobs as a result. So that's a good thing. Now, to the substance of the rest of this year. Guess what? This story comes out like 3 or 4 hours later. The next story comes out. Trump's like, yeah, no, we're not getting out of NAFTA. Of course you're not getting out of NAFTA. No shit, you're not getting out of NAFTA. You want to know why? Because Donald Trump has been corrupted by the establishment. That's why. It's the same thing. We're not going to go into Syria. Anyway, can we go bomb Syria now? We're not going to escalate. We're going to rebuild our country here at home. We're not going to do overseas nation building. Anyway, let's go drop the largest non-nuclear weapon we have on Afghanistan. Let's increase drone strikes by 432%. Let's escalate in Syria. Let's escalate in Iraq. No, we're going to get out. Anyway, let's go in more. So, whatever he said on the campaign trail, that the few good things he sprinkled in, forget it. He's an empty vessel. He contradicted himself on every policy, and now that he's in office, he's just going to respond to the people who are in his circle. Who's in his circle? The establishment, Goldman Sachs guys out the wazoo, at least 4 of them. So you have the economic establishment is in there, and the foreign policy establishment. His foreign policy team is all neocons. And they're doing all the neocon policies, escalating with North Korea for no goddamn reason, escalating with Iran. So he said on the campaign trail, NAFTA, terrible, sad, losing jobs in the Rust Belt. I'm going to bring them back. Trump is going to bring them back. We're going to do an infrastructure deal. What happened, big guy? You're listening to the establishment and you're bought by the establishment. So, by the way, I originally planned this segment. I was going to come out here and say, hey, Trump's considering it. Trump, do it. If you do it, I'll give you credit. If you pull out of NAFTA, I'm going to give you credit. You might have some hack Democrats, loyalists, who say, now that Trump pulled out of NAFTA, I am for NAFTA, and I would go after them ruthlessly. But guess what? You're not going to pull out of NAFTA. It's been reported you're not pulling out of NAFTA. And now you're the sellout, and you're the bitch to the establishment, and we're going to call you out for what you are. So, by the way, what are the effects of NAFTA? $181 billion U.S. trade deficit with Mexico and Canada, the loss of 1 million net U.S. jobs, growing income inequality, and displacement of more than 1 million Mexican farmers. So it's a disaster for everybody except the ruling class, except the corporatists, except the elitists. So who are you representing, Don? The ruling class, the corporatists, the elitists.